Hello, everybody. You are now listening to the Overflow Podcast with Jae and Joaquin.
All I really want is my two front teeth for Christmas. Bop, bop.
I had no idea where you were going with that.
I didn't either. I was like, my brain freaked out.
I thought you were going to start singing Spice Girls.
I think that was the original idea. But, what do I know?
Apparently not Spice Girls songs, which is okay.
All my cool.
I don't hold that against you.
Now, I'm going to tell you what, Dan. I do know, just the one.
The one that everyone knows?
Yeah.
At least the opener?
Yeah. Tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I wanna. If you wanna be my friend, you gotta get with my friends.
Wait, what? Not this friend.
So, what's up, everybody? As always, this is Joaquin.
And I'm Jake.
And we are so glad that you are here with us today. This is round 3.
What?
Here in the new Bat Cave. Or the new Bat Cave for now, Bat Cave. Because we're like homeless superheroes.
We're in the system.
We're looking. We're going to age out soon if we don't find a permanent home.
Yep, they're going to throw us in the streets with drug dealers and prostitutes.
They're going to send us back to the environment that created us. I don't think anyone wants that.
I know I don't.
So, yo, Jay, what's up, man? How's it been, brother?
What's goody?
There's a lot of stuff popping off. It feels like.
Really?
Yeah.
Am I missing out?
You are, brother. You are. So we got Joker coming out this weekend.
Oh, word.
Which there's been a lot of controversy.
A lot of
silly controversy.
Yeah, I swear I need
it is
to
bleep controversy.
I don't know what I can do for myself concerning all of this stuff that's been going on with all like the Joker controversy is ridiculous to a whole other level, but yeah, it's becoming the new norm, right?
Right. If it's not
I don't know what to do with myself with that becoming the new norm.
Right. That's why for the most part I don't watch news anymore. I just read it. That way I can't get outraged. My blood pressure has been a lot better. My mood has been a lot better.
Yeah, I gotta read it. Whoops.
Jay just broke his microphone, I think. You just gotta...
I gotta read it.
Don't touch it.
I gotta read it every day. So, but still, it's just... All right, so what we're talking about is the Joker movie comes out on Friday.
October 4th.
The 4th.
And guess when I'm gonna watch it?
On Friday.
The 3rd.
Oh, the 3rd.
On Thursday.
Right. And there's already people saying that that the movie is gonna drive people to violence. It's gonna incite violence. It's gonna inspire people to become killers.
Right.
And the bulk of this is coming from the people from Aurora, Colorado, right?
Correct.
Right. That are the survivors.
Right, either survivors or the family of those that were killed.
Yeah, of the shootout that happened in the movie theater during one of the Batman movies. I'm not sure which one it was.
It was Dark Knight Rises. It was the 3rd Batman.
And it had nothing to do with the Joker.
Of the Nolan series, no.
Right, the Joker was already gone. But still, like it's strange to me, right? Because a shootout happened in the movie theater for the Batman movie. Now that this Joker movie is coming out, it's like, oh, no. Well, it's the Joker, and there's going to be more shootouts all over the country.
Yeah, he's
you're glorifying violence.
He's a bad guy. I mean, he is.
Yeah, he is. But he's a prince.
He's the clown prince of crime.
but
that sounded more like a witch.
But this is the thing, right? Because this is like what we were talking about. Like, I don't understand that the only connection that this movie has to what happened,
correct,
is the fact that was during the Batman movie, and this is the Joker. So it's like the same universe
in the Batman mythos,
right? So, but the shooter,
pantheon of bad guys.
The shooter didn't shoot up the theater in Colorado because of Batman. He didn't shoot up the theater because of the Joker.
Correct.
I don't even know why he shot at the theater, but it had nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. We're getting to the. It just feels like we've gotten to a point where everything, everything is problematic.
Correct.
Right. We were talking about just how all of us walk around on eggshells now because we got just everything is problematic, and now movies are gonna be problematic. Just because it's a movie about a guy who ends up lashing out and becoming this criminal. I mean, Taxi Driver is same thing, right? Is a guy who was disenfranchised and lashed out. I mean, cinema's full of those guys.
Yeah, but this is like what I was telling you. What I was telling
violence.
you. What I was telling you. Like, cartoons are full of violence. But what I was telling you before, right? Everybody is attacking Todd Phillips and the Joker movie and Martin Scorsese and Joaquin Phoenix, right?
Yeah, that had nothing to do with it.
But
Joaquin Phoenix.
Phoenix, not you.
Joaquin Gonzalez.
Your primo. But
I wish.
nobody says anything about the Purge movies.
Right.
And I use the Purge movies because they are outlandishly violent. Right. The whole premise of a Purge movie is you have one night to go out and commit how many murders and
crimes,
whatever crime you want. Yeah, it's like whatever crime, right? But nobody goes and starts looting a Walmart, right? People go and they
wait for Black Friday.
They commit grisly murders. They kill an entire family. It's all about killing people, right? The premise of it is, one night to commit whatever crime you want.
Whatever crime you want.
Right? But
and you get away scot-free.
And it's all about killing.
Right.
It's all about killing. All they do, they go on all murderous rampages. Right? So I don't understand how, and there've been 4 or 5 of those movies. Right? There's
something like that, yeah.
I think it's also going to be a TV show or on cable or whatever. But still, right? That's a movie that its entire premise is about murdering as many people as you can in one night, and nobody's saying anything.
Right. So now,
and you know how many times I've heard, "Oh, what we need is a purge, like in the movies." Yeah, no, we don't.
No.
Right, but no one's saying anything about that.
You know what? All right. So whenever they come out with the next one. Because I'm sure they're going to come out with another one.
Oh, of course.
Those movies seem to make money. Me and you are going to go on a Twitter campaign. Hashtag is not just the Joker, it's also the Purge.
The Purge is worse than the Joker. Even the Joker is locked inside during Purge Day.
Yeah, so, that controversy. And now it just seems that everybody's... Listen, people, be wary what you tweet. You don't want it to come back on you 10 years later.
So you can't do anything.
So... That's just one more. Thank you, Jesus, for allowing us to grow up in pre social media age.
Word.
When if you wanted to, if you were angry at a company and you wanted just to let them know how angry you were, you had to take out a piece of paper, you had to write it out, find an envelope.
Yeah. It's 4 movies and the
TV show.
The TV show's already out.
Dig for a stamp. Go to the post office. By the time you mailed it, you weren't angry or you forgot what you were angry about. So we had that. Just that controversy. This movie that me and Jay are gonna go watch. We have a friend who's seen it. Says it was dope.
Yeah, probably one of the few Rotten Tomatoes critics that love the movie.
No, I mean I think it was still sitting at a that was the thing, people loved the movie, and then when some people started bringing up this whole idea of oh no people might be bad.
The funny thing is that they're
sitting at a 77% of the Rotten Tomatoes.
The interesting thing to me is that the people that are being what's the proper word? The people that are being called out are white people. This movie's gonna make angry white guys get up and go on murdering sprees.
So the question then is, where do I fall in? Because I'm white, but I'm Puerto Rican.
Right? Just like the Joker in this
Just
movie.
like the Joker in this movie. Yo, listen, this has been a great year for Puerto Ricans, bro. We got Puerto Rican Deathstroke.
Yep.
Puerto Rican Joker. It was another wasn't there another Puerto Rican actor that we
No remembro.
what was it? It was oh man. Oh nuts. Who was it? It was another actor that was Puerto Rican that we were like yeah, we got a Puerto Rican something.
I don't remember. All I know is that Puerto Ricans becoming DC villains.
Yo, we killing it. At least we're like cool. At least we're like cool villains, right? At least we're not like the henchmen. Now we're like becoming the leading henchmen.
I mean, there's no
the masterminds.
I mean, it's the two most dangerous villains in the DC Comics universe.
Yeah.
Right? It's the Joker.
So speaking of,
and
all right,
Deathstroke.
So we've complained. All right, for those of you that don't care, you can speed up for probably about a minute or two. What you think of Titans? What you think about this past week's episode?
Yo, Titans was bananas. I never told you what my one thing was.
No, you did not. I kind of told you I watched it, and then we just got busy with like the billion other text messages we sent each other on.
I never told you my one thing was. My one thing is Aqualad's skin should have been impervious to that bullet.
I thought the same thing when I was thinking about it. I was like, wait a minute. He was able to stop Dr. Light.
Right, the laser.
You know, he was able to stop his light.
The amped up Dr. Light.
Yeah, the amped up Dr. Lightning. I guess.
No, it was a laser because they kept saying the laser.
Well, he had the power of the laser, so it was like a.
Right.
Anyway, the Emperor Lightning. But then a bullet penetrated him.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Maybe it's like a special superhero bullet.
That's what Magda said. But I was like, I'm looking at that and I'm like, yo, like, cause even if they hadn't shown the fact that he was able to like block off Dr. Light's lasers, right? He's Aqualad, right? His skin should be as tough as Superman's, right? Not completely impenetrable like Superman's,
right?
But at least that tough, because
or as tough as Aquaman,
right? Exactly. His skin, like bullets should be able to bounce off him the same way they bounce off Aquaman, because his skin and his body, his body composition can withstand the pressures of deep sea, right? That's the whole point.
So now, but all right. So I'm just gonna go with my. You know how, remember when we were watching Gotham and I was like, dude, multiverse. Remember, it's a different Earth. So I'm going with multiverse for bullets. It's just
specifically
it's a specific bullet.
This is a multiverse Aqualad where his skin kind of sucks.
You know,
he can only swim down to like 10 feet.
That's like when he's frustrated, his skin softens.
But there's one other thing that I picked up. And of course, since we didn't watch it, since we didn't watch it together, I couldn't like ask about it.
Right.
It was who was Deathstroke's real target? Was it Donna or was it the other woman?
I think it was Donna.
Yeah, so do I.
I think it was Donna because he kind of centered in. It looked like he had centered in on her, and he stepped
in front of her.
Like he stepped in front of her.
Like they showed that he pushed her out of the way, and he stepped in front.
Yeah.
Right. And then Deathstroke saw that he shot this guy and went to shoot again. Because remember, Deathstroke doesn't miss.
Yeah, he went to shoot again, and that boss lady threw the
whatever it
the
was.
Ninja Star.
The Mascarian Ninja Star. Right? And you saw that, right? It split the bullet in half.
Yeah.
That was dope. But anyway. But yeah, I'm thinking that it was Donna. That Donna was Deathstroke's like original target.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I wonder what the hell that bullet was, because that bullet should not it should not have killed
I wonder if they're gonna address it. But then we see Jericho. And Yo,
Now, go be Batman.
Yo, now go be Batman.
So we were talking about that,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
oh, why is that? Oh, why? Like, it didn't make sense. Now it makes
Oh
sense.
yeah, I screamed. I was I wanted it by myself. Just
I didn't
screaming.
scream.
Ah.
I did like the cat in Puss in Boots.
Yo, yeah.
And
But
then when he
but
shows up
then-
at the end and he does the whole like, friend thing with the smile.
and then when he
at the
turns
end,
back, he's looking at him. Yo, but that calls to question. Remember,
go ahead. What?
Rose said that a few months back, Deathstroke killed, and this is
Killed her brother.
Killed her brother, and this is 4 years later. So, it'll be interesting. I'm all in, man.
I think there's another brother, but I could be wrong. But either way, like now, my thing, what I thought you were gonna mention is the whole Rose thing a ploy?
Ooh, like the Judas contract thing. Could be. Instead of using
Terra.
Yeah. That could potentially yeah, well, yeah, because he sees that they're back and he's like, how can I
Make it seem like he's after her, he's trying to kill
Yeah.
her. Because in the comic books, the whole eye thing, Ravager like stabs her own eye and pulls it out. So that she can
she took that Bible verse literally.
so she can be more like her father.
Oh,
Right? So she can be more like her father.
Thought
So she
about
did it to herself.
cost her to sin.
So like it's like the show made it seem like
He did it.
like he did it. Like they didn't mention it, but they alluded to it. Right? Like he was the one that did that to her and that's why she was running. But according to mythos, she did it to herself to prove to her father that she's like him. So maybe instead of introducing Terra, they're using Ravager or Rose to be like that
kind of like that Judas
traitorous
for the Judas contract. Kind of just kind of redoing the storyline a little bit.
Just tweaking it a bit.
I mean, which is fine. I
Right.
mean, but yeah, I am I'm excited. I'm so angry that they don't just drop them all at once.
Bruh, I have to tell you, as good as the first season was for its intro season, this season,
It's been pretty good.
for me, it's already topped last
Now,
season.
I did see somebody say, and I thought it was hilarious. They're like, don't these guys care about their secret identities? Because when they went to the stadium the first time to fight or try to grab Dr. Light,
Yeah.
and they're like calling each other's names.
Yeah. That's right. That's right. Don't call me that here. Unless Dr. Light already knows.
Maybe, but
Right? Because he's not a new villain. He's an old villain.
right,
That, according to them, they already put away.
right. But I thought that was hilarious.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't see that, but
yeah,
that's
they're
hilarious.
like dick, duck, or whatever. It's like, where's your masks?
But how did
Something.
Did you catch? I caught this. They showed that that Dick and Dawn were together, right? During
Yes.
that time, right? But I forgot who it was that said something. I think it was Donna. But apparently Dawn would only go between Hank and Dick.
Yeah, because she was with Hank, and Hank mentioned something about we didn't work out.
Yeah, we didn't work out, and then she was with Dick, then present day she's back with Hank.
Back with Hank.
It's because they killed Aqualad.
Yeah, and that's why remember when he showed up, Hank wasn't too happy that he showed back up. Mm-hmm. Because he's like, no, you're not going to take her away from me.
It's not your turn again yet.
I don't like you. I thought we were friends. But yeah, so it'll be very very, very interesting to see kind of where this leads.
And now we know why Don is so pissed.
And now we know why Donna is so angry. And I read something about that portrait, that painting that she was looking at. And it had to do with...
what painting?
Remember when she was standing in front of the painting and she was like, I have to stay?
Oh,
And the lady was like, revenge is...
whatever. Revenge is whatever.
So that painting is when Achilles lost his friend. Something or the other. And then he goes, and then he goes in a rage to kill Hector. So he kills Hector, but I think in that because he allowed himself to be so enraged that he lost focus, and then that's how he was killed. Remember, because Achilles was only weak. In his heel. So the idea then that painting is kind of like it's like a warning, right? It's like that's what she was saying. Don't let your rage so consume you that it destroys you. Also, so I thought that was a pretty neat touch. I had to read up on it because I was like, yeah, what's up with that painting? Why was she looking at it? That's not Aqualad. But yeah, man. So we have that. So let's see. Hold on a second, as I am doing this. All right. So yeah, and new TV show for everybody to check out if you want to.
Achilles lamenting the death of Patroclus.
I was thinking Peth something, but it was a Patroclus. Blah, blah, blah. You know, one of them Greek names. Oh man, what was the name of that show?
Perfect Harmony.
Perfect Harmony. That is Jay's suggestion of the week. You should check it out. It's a comedy. It's about he was Princeton?
It's like a dramedy, right?
I guess.
A little. Right, like a little, because there's
a little bit of drama, but
there's a little bit of drama.
But it was pretty funny. It was a lot funnier than I thought it would be. I like the fact. All right, ready for this show? And you guys need to watch it. But I like the fact that the choir entered that competition in the same episode, and it wasn't like
wasn't drawn out
like a whole season long thing. I like the fact they did it. They're like, oh, they did good. So now it's about those relationships and preparing for the next one. You know, I thought it was hilarious the caricature of the mega church pastor they did with the toupee.
I thought that was hilarious. I thought Matthew McConaughey.
That was great. I like the big guy. What was the big guy?
Was it fake Dwayne Johnson?
It was like Drew and was it like Drew and?
It was Wayne and Dwayne.
Wayne and Dwayne.
Right. It was Wayne and Dwayne.
Boy, talk about a deep voice. Let's start singing "Wrecking Ball" by. That was pretty hilarious.
Yo, I mean, it's funny, right? Because it's one of those nights I couldn't sleep. I knew you were working overnight. That's why I texted you.
Okay, yeah, it was.
So I couldn't sleep, and I'm like, well, let me go downstairs and just find something to do. And Hulu was like, hey, new fall shows. Oh, okay, I'll watch these. Maybe they're dumb and boring, and they'll put me to sleep. Nope. No.
Yeah, it was great. The pastor who was was raised in the mission field. His parents showed him edited movies with like edited titles.
Edited movies and TV shows where they would change the titles.
That was great.
They would edit the movies and the TV shows, and then they would change the titles.
But what's funny is that when he's like, Rocky, and he was like, you probably call it something. He goes, Rocky. No, what else?
It's Rocky. No, it's Rocky. You can't change that.
But you know why that's funny too, though, right? Because back in the 90s, I think it was late 90s, maybe even early 2000s, there was this DVD player. Remember the DVD player?
I remember that. It was only sold in Christian bookstores.
It was only sold in Christian bookstores, and so some of you...
It would do the work for you.
Some of you are like, okay, so DVDs are these discs.
No, they're like CDs.
They're like CDs, but for movies. Yeah, there were these DVD players that you put it in, and it would edit like the curse words and the stuff out of the movies for you to show your family. Which is, as corny as it was kind of neat.
It's a dope idea.
It was a very dope idea, as corny as it was. But, yeah, man, we should try to find one. That'd be hilarious. It probably like
dope. Well, now we got Pure Flix.
It will probably mute a lot of even the newer cartoons.
I think it'll mute us.
Yes, it will. Nothing can mute us.
I think it'll mute us.
We're like Black Canary. Power in our voice. All right, so let's go ahead and you know what? All right, so we have to say it because if we don't, we'll be remiss.
We would.
No. Want to skip the Kanye thing? Just.
Oh no, yeah. Let's say it. So it could be something quick.
Oh yeah. So as you guys know, we've been a little bit on a Kanye kick, and it's not because we don't like Kanye. It's just because it's just the whole stuff surrounding him, and just the way people reacting causes us,
and the way believers
are reacting
flock.
is causing us to react. So apparently Kanye last night or this past weekend had an event in Detroit where he played a movie that he put together.
A movie,
and he played
that correlates with his album.
And he played his new album, which was supposed to have been released on Sunday, and then I think, which is today, we're recording this on Sunday, but it hasn't dropped. I think they're just doing that on purpose now because I don't care what they say about final mixes. Now they're doing this on purpose because they got all of us on our seat. Because like me and Jay want to listen to it because we want to hear what he's got to say, in correlation to like this new change. Right. Well, in this thing, he said that he was
no longer doing
secular music,
Christian music from now on.
But he was doing gospel music from now on, not Christian. We got to be very specific. He had gospel music, which is, as we all know, it's a different genre.
It's a genre within itself, right? Within Christian music.
And then I remember seeing somebody tweeted, I think it was Andy Mineo, tweeted something like, what's the, how do you define secular and
oh God, are we gonna have that conversation again?
Music? No, we're not. Not that we're gonna. I'm just saying this. We're not necessarily gonna have it, but people are. That thing was all. And I remember when he wrote, I wanted to tweet back. I wanted to be like, come on, son.
I would have tweeted back.
Come on, son. Like, really, we know what the differences are. That's the whole point. That's why we argue about it. So apparently that's happening. So be on the lookout. Maybe I don't know. His album's dropping. We'll be listening to it so that we can then kind of figure out how we're gonna
You know our answer if we use a Kanye song as a song of the week, then you know where we stand.
That's right. But if we use a Kanye song, we're gonna use a KRS one from Spirit.
No, we ain't using no KRS one in gospel and hip hop. The hell out of here.
And then we're gonna use a Snoop one.
No, we ain't.
And then we're gonna end it with "I Believe I Can Fly" from R. Kelly.
Because it's funny. The one distinction,
because he used to choir that song.
The one distinction between those, with the exception of R. Kelly, R. Stein's so rapey. The one distinction between Kanye, Snoop, and who was the other one you mentioned?
KRS.
And KRS-One is that only Kanye has come out and said that he gave his life to Christ.
Correct.
Like he's the only one. The only one. Well, Snoop, whatever.
And Snoop. Anyway, and remember, I think in that article you read, or in the tweets that you read, he even said he shouldn't have done the whole Yeezus.
Yeah, he regretted the whole Yeezus thing. He said
thing.
He's in Detroit, and we have a buddy out there named James Garden, who's also a dope hip hop,
rapper,
hip hop artist. Right, you should look up his stuff. But he texted on Twitter that he was there, so I'll probably talk to him separately, or we figure this out and we can get him to call in and be a part of the show, so he can tell us about it. But he told me, and it was I later verified it on Twitter, that during the listening session, let's say, right, because it wasn't a show, people were chanting Kanye, 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 and he stopped them.
Right.
And he stopped them, and he said, this is not about me.
No.
That in and of itself shows that Jesus made a change, right? That is
somebody,
right? And he was like, this is not about me. This is about Jesus,
right?
Right. So, and then what we read right before we started recording the show was how he said that he started having his mental problems, right, or his depression, and started
just that craziness that he was doing.
During and after the whole Yeezus thing,
where he put himself as Jesus,
and he even admitted it. Like he joked about it. I called myself Yeezus.
And to me, that's what makes me go, okay. Like was it those little meerkats? Whoop, my head pops up, and I'm just like, okay. Yeah. So we'll keep kind of bringing this on and because culture, right? It's all about culture,
Right, right.
And how
And
it
we are
affects.
about the culture and about the gospel. So
And, I mean, we're uncultured, but we're about culture.
speak for yourself. I'm decultured.
Wah, wah.
Like what?
Wait, what? You're decluttered?
That too. Nothing but good vibes.
I have no idea what that means.
Nothing but good vibes. I'm so done. Nothing but love and light over here.
So, all right. So we had the Kanye thing. We're gonna boop. All right.
If you're in Atlanta,
so I was gonna
tomorrow.
say a couple of things.
Hold on, tomorrow.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we've
That
got
was one of them. Legacy Nights.
Legacy Nights with Uzuhan at the Ice Kitchen. So
yes, I got it right.
Yeah.
At the Ice Kitchen in Kennesaw. So just type in the Ice Kitchen Kennesaw. You go on, or you can go on social media.
and just look up Legacy Nights. LGCY
Hip hop.
NYTS.
Hip hop style, where you got to add the U where U goes, R.
Nah, I just don't like vowels.
Or you just misspell. He didn't have enough for vowels. Pat Sajak was like, "Sorry, man, you don't have enough."
He kept raising the prices, man.
Well, with this trade war with China, most of our vowels are made over there now.
Word.
So,
Word.
Legacy Nights. Also, I just saw on the 11th and 12th, I believe, of October, AC3.
A3C.
A3C. I never get that right. A3C, Rapzilla, and Reach Records having a couple of showcases.
One.
And
showcase.
they're doing like one where people are performing, right? And then one where it's like new artists or up and comers or whatever.
It's light work, and it's gonna have the entire indie tribe for the first time in a long time, which is no big deal. What up, RG, Mowgli the Iceberg, and Jerry Mana, and then it will also have Aaron Cole, Cannon, Rama Soul is back. Byron Juwan. What's wrong with me? Byron Juwan, Wande, Paris Charis, V Rose, Phil J, Acleso, Tommy Royale, Uzuhan, On Beat Music, Romar Jesse, Curtis Hoppy, and DJ Enzo Gran. And you see some legacy artists there, but also
that's why I brought it up.
Shout out to
Joaquin,
the one and only Aaron Knight, who puts together the dopest tours and the dopest shows in Atlanta, who had a big hand in this.
So that's coming up the 11th and 12th, or 10th and 11th.
The 12th.
But it's 2 nights.
No, I told you it was one.
Oh, but then they have they have like their showcase on Friday. I think it is. And
no idea what that's about. It has nothing to do with me.
It could. That's where you discover new artists.
No, I'm not even gonna be here that weekend.
So that's happening. If you like Christian hip hop, then on the 12th, the 11th and 12th, you can check that out. A3C.
Yep.
Tickets, I think they're fairly inexpensive. I think it was like $20 for both.
Let me check again. Yeah, $20 for both. Cause I think the show is just $15. Yeah. Unless you're bought into A3C, then you go in with your
the VIP
with your wristband,
whatever. So if you're into hip hop and you want to check that out, it's actually
$15 right now.
Yeah, it's actually pretty,
and it's an all ages show.
Yeah,
right?
and
so
it's pretty nice, and it's a really nice lineup. No lie.
Yeah,
fronting.
Thanks again, Aaron.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into trailer and song of the week, and then we're gonna keep it moving. Then Jay is gonna get all Joker on us. Here we go.
I'm gonna kill some people.
So the new trailer is for Kingsman 3, The Kingsman,
which is really Kingsman 0.
Right.
Right, because it's
0 year.
It's a prequel.
It's the prequel to Kingsman 1 and 2. It's got Ralph Fiennes in it. Ralph, whatever. It's got
you Americans.
Don't care. So anyway, it looks dope. I like it.
Yo, it's got Jimon Hansu in it, right?
Yeah.
He was probably the hardest working black man in Hollywood right now,
man. He's been like in DC. He's been in Marvel. He was on a ship.
Like
Remember, that's how he.
Amistad was dope.
That was his first movie. When he was discovered.
Right. The thing that I love Jamon Hansu about is that he's done like the cheesy movies, like that Queen Latifah movie, the spinoff from Barbershop.
Right.
What was it? Beauty Shop.
Yeah, I watched it. I think it was Beauty Shop.
I watched it too, but I'm trying to remember the name. Like it was the spinoff. The spinoff from Barbershop, right?
Yep.
He was in that, but then he'll play roles like he did with Amistad, and then he'll play around and be Shazam in Shazam.
That's right.
Right, because he was the original wizard, right? So, like I think he enjoys working, right?
Well.
And he just enjoys movies.
Yeah, he doesn't call that work. He calls that fun time.
Right? Because he just works. He just works.
So Kingsman 3, check out the trailer. Looks fine. And the song of the week, Jay picked this. I'm gonna say it this way because I know it drives him crazy. Isla Vista Worship and Bree Reed. Just dropped.
Is it Bree? Is it Bray?
No, it's Bree.
It's
Bree because it doesn't have the little. Was it the ampersand or whatever it's called above the little?
The ampersand is the and.
Is that the and? I don't know.
The accent.
The accent, whatever it's called. You know what? I'm gonna look it up. While you tell us what's up. What's up with the song? What's the name of the song?
Jesus Christ.
And why did you choose it?
Because it's a song about Jesus Christ. In case anybody had any doubts about what we're about here at the Overflow Podcast, right? Jesus Christ. Actually, I listened to the song.
We love you, God. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Isla Vista Worship.
Oh, the ampersand is the and.
I just said that.
Oh, I didn't know that. I don't pay attention to you.
Isla Vista Worship. I think you're the one that discovered them.
Yeah.
And we've used a few of their songs,
Yeah,
because
really
they're pretty dope.
like a collective.
And I think they're out of Cali. And I heard this song tonight before we started recording, and I was like, yeah, this is it. It's like this is it. I don't have to listen to anything else.
And it's a slow song, it's like a really slow, very pretty. It's a very pretty song.
It's a worshipful song.
Yeah, I don't know that I would call it a worship song.
No, I said worshipful.
But it is worshipful.
I mean, it could be a worship song and legacy night standards.
Correct.
Right? So, yeah. Not as far as the genre, but as far as the motive.
Yeah. It's, what? Here it is. It's one of those songs. It's one of those songs when you listen to it, your spirit can't help but worship.
Right.
But it's not necessarily a song. For me, it didn't feel like necessarily a song that you would sing during a worship service.
To me, it did.
For me. So.
To me, it did. Or maybe that's just my hunger for worship songs to finally break out of the Hillsong, Jesus culture, elevation mold.
Right.
Right.
A little more wordy. I like worship today. So today I went and visited the square where Jay goes to church.
Yep.
I was really shocked by the worship because the songs, like, it was like a mix of some older stuff, it seemed like, and some newer stuff.
Yeah.
The message was on point. Listen, y'all need to go to the square. Just find the square in Smyrna. Go to their podcast and listen to today's message. It was on point.
Actually, listen to the whole series because
I only listened to today's. So
today was
you listen to today. That's
today
the only one I can. That's the only one I can.
Shut up and listen.
That's the only one I can tell. I can.
He did
endorse
the book 2 Timothy, like chapter and verse, right?
Yeah.
And
which is rare nowadays.
And his wife preached last Sunday, and like other pastors as well because he was out of town for like conferences and stuff. But they've all been on point. Because I'm not a big fan of the chapter and verse teaching style when it's done wrong, right? Like they did it right. When I say done wrong is when preachers or pastors, like they'll read 2 or 3 verses or maybe one, right? And then just say, okay, so what that means is, okay, next verse. It's like that's you're not doing anything. For me, you're not doing anything, right? You're reading, you're giving me your opinion, your insight as far as what you think, and then that's it. Like I could do that myself at home.
No, it's I like it when they break it down, like
right.
You know, when in this
If
verse,
you do it
this
eschatologically,
right, this word in Greek means this,
right.
and then in this translation it means that, and here's like that kind of stuff. That's that nerdy stuff.
Yeah, I love that.
That's interesting.
But
But that's not really a preaching style. That's more of a teaching style.
Yeah, it's a teaching style,
and it should be done on Wednesday night, or Thursday night, whenever you
like
do your
group.
however you do your groups.
But yeah, like listen to the entire series. I mean, it's only 4 chapters, right? So
right.
it's not that long.
But today's was.
But it was dope.
But to me, today's was, just because I've only heard today's, but just the idea of who you surround yourself with, and the friendships, and the forgiveness aspect of relationships and stuff. And I think if we're honest, as you were saying, so there, if we're honest with ourselves, there's probably a couple of names or faces that probably popped up, and we're like, when he said that, I thought of this person, or he said that, I thought of this person. So check it out.
I like it's funny when he said, find yourself. I think it's important that you find yourself like spiritual moms and dads.
Right.
And we had Nicole and Jenna. Shout out Nicole and Jenna. And Jenna went and like leaned on me and then leaned on Magda. And then Nicole just looked over. So it's like, I guess.
And Jay leaned over and said, "What?"
Sit back, pay attention.
And then I thought it was funny when he said, we all need a Luke in our lives.
Yeah.
And then Jay texts me,
"What up, Luke?
What up, Luke?" And what did I respond with? Luke Skywalker yelling, "No!" Right after Vader told him he was his daddy. Luke, I'm your daddy.
I am your father.
I am your daddy.
Pero, yeah, man, you're my Luke, son. Or maybe I'm yours. I mean, who cares? I mean, the important part is
is that friendship that
the friendship.
And it's funny, I have Luke 17:2 up here, which is going to coincide with what you're going to talk about. So,
what we're going to talk about.
All right, Pastor Jay, what you got? What you got for us today?
All right, so today, I think Joaquin and I are gonna be just a little bit raw when it comes to this, because this is something
angrier than normal.
Yes, angrier than normal, because this is something that we both have like a really strong distaste for, and we've seen it a lot, and
them cockroaches,
and and it's not, and I don't think it's ever gonna die out, right? Now, listen to this disclaimer. We will not name names. I think
Bill. There's no Bill.
I think we will not name names.
No.
But it's one specific person that inspired all this, because
correct.
This one person
really hurt
a few people.
Correct.
Right, a few people in our lives, right? So, like, we're going to talk about killer pastors. Yeah, killer pastors.
Yeah, killer pastors.
I got it right.
And what does that mean? Like, put that frame. What does killer pastors mean?
Well, a killer pastor is a pastor that does not.
He's not one of the Wu-Tang.
Can you imagine? He doesn't. Man, he doesn't hold the office of pastor properly, not correctly, not the way.
Correct.
Not the way the scripture tells us or leads us or teaches us, right? And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say all this as a guy that was killed by pastors, and
rose again.
Man, only Jesus.
So he means he means killed in the spiritual sense.
And I don't mean right. I was gonna get into that.
Oh.
And has seen and has witnessed pastors that kill a lot of people.
Correct.
And as Joaquin clarified, right, I don't mean kill like physically take someone's life. Like I wasn't murdered and then brought back to life in the physical sense, but pastors that that do more harm than good to the body, right? Pastors that, and maybe
Correct.
not to the entire church, but will take certain individuals and cause them a lot of hurt, right? Single them
Right.
out and just like kill them spiritually to the point that they leave the church, and church also God, kingdom, right? Everything in between.
Right. They leave the church, and then, let's say, I'm making numbers up here, but let's say, there's a 50-50 chance, right? They'll leave the church, and the 50-50 chances that they'll just leave the faith altogether.
They'll leave the faith.
Or they'll do the whole, well, I don't need a church to experience Jesus. I can just go sit in the woods under a mushroom. Or
Okay, you must be hobbit sized.
they're tiny tips. Or they do make it to another church, but then they land there with all their wounds,
Right.
and maybe or maybe not heal properly.
Correct.
Right. So
Right. So these names I will mention. So our friend Michael, he's been on the podcast of I think once or twice. And the names that I just mentioned, Nicole and Jenna, were just seriously hurt and discouraged by the same pastors and the same church. Not at the same time and not with the same issue.
correct.
But it's still it's and maybe we'll have Michael come in so he can talk about it and he can be as honest and as explicit as he wants to be. But the job of a pastor is the job of a shepherd. The job of a pastor is the job of a shepherd. The job of a shepherd is to take care of the flock, right? To be examples of Jesus to his flock here. Now, if the scripture says that Jesus will leave the 99 to go to the one, then the pastor here, who is over a flock, should reflect that, right? Should do the same. But instead, this pastor shoots the 99 and shoots the one, right? So it's or kills the 99 and kills the one. I don't know, because I don't know if shepherds have guns, but
You just killed all of them.
But yeah, exactly. But the fact of the matter is, the pastor is the person who is supposed to resemble, at least more than anyone else, right, the love of Christ, or reflect the love of Christ and show the love of Christ, and more than anyone else within the church body.
Right, and the pastor was all and we get in this. So we found this article, and I thought it was pretty great. He gave us like 17 points on.
Oh, let me go to it.
Just qualifications of a pastor. And we're not going to go through them all, but the ones that kind of stood out that kind of deal with what we're talking about, must be humble, must be gentle, must be an example to the flock,
peaceful,
must be spiritually mature,
self-controlled,
because the problem that we tend to see a lot is that there's no peacefulness, there's no maturity, right? Because these pastors will lash out
right.
out of a perceived slight, or out of, I remember one time I had a pastor tell me, it was near the end of my time there, and it was basically what caused me to finally be like, deuces. But he was, he says to me, he goes, this was at the Korean church that I was at, and I remember I used to tell him, I was like, yo, pastor, like, I'd be willing to preach an English service.
Yeah.
Right? Because I preached for him once because he didn't make it back in time.
Yeah.
And I preached for him, and people loved it. And because I'm awesome. But I guess he didn't like that. And he never, but so instead of saying anything to me, right, he just kind of held it.
Yeah. And
then we got into this discussion, and he was unhappy about something I didn't do, and and he was right to be unhappy with me as I look now back. But the one thing he said that was not proper was he tells me, he goes, I know you've been after my pulpit since you've been here.
Dun, dun, dun.
You know, and I was like, what? I don't want your pulpit. I don't speak Korean. Why would I want your pulpit? You know, and that's a wound, right? That's a wound because, you know, here I am, who's non-Korean, right? I'm not Korean, obviously. B, it's not like I speak the language, obviously. C, was I doing ABCs or 1, 2, 3s? C,
Hey.
it's not like I was married to a Korean woman and that's why I was there. You know, I went to your church out of my wanting to be there, and you look at it as I'm trying to take your pulpit.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, you were the youth pastor, right?
Yeah, I was a youth pastor there. And so, you know, there's no maturity in that.
Right.
Right? There's no
peace in that.
There's no peace in that. And so that's the thing we talk about. And that's the thing we mean.
And that's with you. And like with me, it was almost the same thing. I was also a youth leader and growing the youth, and it grew to such a rate that instead of seeing the blessing in that, it was taken as a threat, and I was trying to build my own church within the church, right? That was one thing. The other thing was you know, me always being told that I'm doing everything wrong and that God is not honored by me, like, well, to me, actually trying to live out scripture, to them not living out legalism.
Right. It's a big difference.
Right? Huge difference. Right? So, and then me also not being good enough. Like, I was always seen as the upstart in church and the trouble starter. And it went to the point where, like, with like my ex-wife, like, it would be like, you're such a saint. I don't know how you can be with somebody as horrible as Jay. Right, who I don't even believe that he's a real Christian because, you know, God's still not done, like junk like that, and then eventually getting kicked out of the church, right? The church that basically raised me and put me through Bible college and stuff, right? Getting kicked out, which like was a wound that took a couple years to heal. And then here in Atlanta, you know, the other church I went to where the pastor was having an affair and he was trying to get me to be the buffer for him. It's like, hey, Jay, why don't you marry this lady? You know, help her get her citizenship. And I'm like, no, isn't she married to somebody else? Yeah, but, you know, just for the government, you know, like, you're a pastor, that's illegal. And she's still married to somebody else. Right? And then it turns out that he was having an affair with her, and he was just trying to what is it? Who is that? He was trying to pull a David. Right. But with these people,
that's David and Bathsheba for those that don't care.
With these people, like, they did other things, but regardless, the church that they go to, like, Michael was kicked out, right? Because the pastor also was not acting peaceful, right? He wasn't patient. He was not being a pastor. He took everything as an attack because Michael was for lack of a better word, Michael was famous with the young adults and the college kids because he was such a big part of that scene and leading that for some time, right?
And starting it.
Right? So, yeah, and starting it. And so he was seen and taken as a threat. And everyone treated him with antagonism, right? Because of whatever. And things were blown out of proportion. I mean, nothing pisses me off more than when a pastor tells you that, you know, you're not allowed to come back to God's church anymore.
Right.
Right, like that. Nothing, like literally. I really, like, after he left and we prayed with him and whatever. Like, I was like, yo, baby, you got to pray for me too because I'm of a mind to call in late to work tomorrow and go see this guy. Right.
Because it you know, there's a difference, right? And there's a hard thing. Right? There's a difference between, you know, telling somebody like don't come back because they are just swimming and drinking in their sin,
Right.
and are unrepentant,
And are a danger
you know,
to the other people that go to the church.
A danger, whether physically or spiritually, to others in the church. There's biblical foundations, right, for asking someone not to come back.
Right.
But to ask someone not to come back because you're feeling some kind of way, as we like to say at work, I'm feeling some kind of way, right? Because you're feeling some kind of way about how the person is doing ministry, and whether you view it as a threat. And a lot of times that's what it is when these kinds of situations. You view it as a threat, and you're acting out in your feelings, and then you turn around talking about, well, we want people to know about Jesus. There's a danger in that. Me and Jay, and this is why it's so important to have people in your life that'll call you out when you make them, when maybe you behave a certain way, and later on they're like, yeah, dude, you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, word.
But all of this is to say that, it's maddening when those that are called to lead are the ones that are doing
the hurting
and as much damage. And so that's why we call it, killer pastors, because, or not pastor killers. That would be completely different context.
That's a different show.
Because Scripture, and Jay laughed at this because when he brought this up, I was like, what verse are we going to use? and so Jay was, I'm like, are we going to talk about the millstone being tied around your neck? And
did you find that scripture?
Oh yeah, it's Matthew 18. Well, actually Luke. So there's a couple of verses, right? So Luke 17:2. I'm gonna read out of the New Living Translation. It would be better to be thrown into the sea with a millstone hung around your neck than to cause one of these little ones to fall into sin. And then in Matthew 18:6. But if anyone causes one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, right? One says to sin.
The other one says to stumble.
This one's to stumble. It would be better for him to have a large.
There's that spectrum.
For him to have a large millstone hung around his neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. And then Mark, similar thing. If anyone causes one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it would be better for him to have a large millstone hung around his neck.
What's a millstone?
So a millstone, do you know what a millstone is?
Yeah, I just want you to explain it to them.
So what is a millstone? Oh. No, it's that's a big round stone. It's like a circle, which is why I said round. Mm-hmm. That's what they would use to like grind the wheat.
Right.
To turn it into wheat powder.
Yeah, to press it.
And to then roll it up and make delicious little balls of wheat and bread.
Bread? You can just say bread, right? So
Zeppelis. That's what I was looking for. Zeppelis.
Nice. So that's what Joaquin came up with, right? That was.
And Jay was like, "Dang, son."
I was like, "Damn," because no lie, I totally forgot about those verses.
Oh yeah, I'm all about millstones and throwing people into the ocean.
And these are the words of Christ, right? I was thinking more of what Jesus' brother said. Right? James 3:1 says, not many of you, right? It says it, not many of you should become teachers, my fellow believers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly, right? So there's a heavier accountability on pastors, right?
Correct.
Because they are in leadership. Right.
You are a teacher. Forget this whole, he's what you call a preacher and he's what you call a teacher. And those are styles.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And if you're in front of a church and if you're leading a flock, then you lead that flock. You lead that flock in love. You lead that flock in grace, in mercy, in all things that Christ himself leads us in. And when you are the cause of someone sinning, of someone stumbling, right, then not only do you deserve a millstone around your neck and get thrown into sea, but when you stand before God for judgment, right? Because that's one thing that a lot of believers forget that we will all stand before God in judgment, right? That is one thing that you will be held accountable for. Yep. God is going to call you out on it, Right? He's gonna call you out.
Yeah, there is a like you said, right? There is a higher standard. There's a higher standard. Now, these kids that this happened to, fortunately, they didn't fall into sin. But they stumbled, right? And the thing is that sometimes we think of stumbling as in, oh, maybe, they watched something they shouldn't have. Ooh.
Right.
No, this is to me, I think is more egregious, is that they stumbled in their faith. They stumbled in, how God views them.
Dude, it's like what Jenna told us this afternoon, right? When she experienced what she experienced, and when she went to them and told them how hurt she was on how they treated her, and the response was, what, you expect us to be accountable for what we said to you? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Duh. Right? And it's like,
Maybe.
well, nope, we're not.
Maybe.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. That's your problem.
And so, see, that causes doubt, right? And not doubt, not our own doubts, right? Not the ones that we kind of come up with when we're sitting around thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
But it causes doubts in, well, do I even want to be part of a fellowship?
Yeah. It makes you think, if God is love, right? And you are the representatives of God to show and teach me of how much he is love and how loving he is and how, my sins are no more and everything is cast away. But this is your response, right? You do not show me love. You show me rejection. You show me, what's the word? Blame, right? You show me condemnation, right? Then why do I want to be a part of that?
Right.
Right? And the thing with the girls is that they're both young in their faith, right? So why do I want to be a part of that? I'm just
right. They're at that moment where, so like me and Jay have been around long enough, right? Where if that happened to us, we might look at them, we might say a few words, we might just walk out, but we're gonna be like, you're dead to me, right? We're done with you.
Yeah. You
right, and we're just gonna go find another
done.
place.
Right. Or like if like they say something like that would happen to me right now, I would have to. It's like a split second prayer, right? It's a split second prayer because I know what Scripture says about stepping up to a pastor or a teacher one-on-one and like letting them know that they were wrong, right? I know what Scripture says about that. Not about making a big show, not about putting it on social media to put him on blast or blasting him on this podcast, which is why we said no names, right? I know what Scripture says about going to this person one-on-one and speaking to them, right? Going up to the elder and speaking to them. And if they still continue, then you bring it up to the elders, right? I know all that. I know about all that. But my quick prayer would be, Lord, allow me to speak to this guy without him like pushing me out my goat and me knocking him out. Right. And because if it's that, then, I'd rather leave, walk out and never return. But I know me, I will also tell people don't go there.
Right.
That is not a healthy place
for you to be at.
For you to be or anyone, and it's not the right person to have as a pastor over you.
Right. So the thing is that now I will say this too. Okay. Now, for those that might be listening, it might be if you're like, yeah, I know that one pastor was he was like that or whatever and hurt me. And so, my suggestion to you is if you've been hurt like that by a pastor and you haven't been back, and for whatever reason you discovered us, go back. Go not back to that place, but go back to a home. Find a church home that'll help you in healing and in growth. But I'm also going to throw this out, and that is, don't just think, oh, well, good thing I'm not a pastor. I'm covered. I don't have to worry about the millstone. No, this is also for all of us, right? This is also for those of us that are pastors. So Pastor Jay's got his different thing. Now I got my different thing, right? And it's like, I still got to behave the same way.
Yeah, because we still should not be a stumbling
Right.
block
We
for
still
anybody.
shouldn't be stumbling blocks to nobody. Right. We still should also walk in these things, right? In peace and in love. And I mean, we've been called to do that, right? We've talked about that.
And to take things a step further, right? Not excusing these killer pastors, right? Not excusing these killer pastors. And I say killer pastors because they're in that leadership position, and so any hurt that they create,
right?
They're
killing.
They're
killing a sapling.
But it's also, and this comes with, well, like Joaquin just said, that we've been around for for a long time, and so that's why when he made the distinction of, we would like walk away or whatever, is because with experience and grace, there's an understanding that even pastors fall short.
Correct.
Right. So we know. I'm going to say it raw, like my dad used to say it. And I used to laugh every time he said it like this. I mean, you met Bobby. But it was I think it's the best way for you to realize that, they are people too. So my dad would say, hey, pastor's a man of God. But remember that the pastor has to stand up to P too.
Right.
Right? Just like you. Right? Okay. He might be in the front. Right, but in the bathroom, we're all equal, right? And and the deal is,
sorry, I just had to look away because I had so many jokes.
And the thing with that is that we are all people, we all fall short, right? We all are broken. We all need God, right? We all need God. And that doesn't excuse it. It doesn't excuse it, but it does explain it.
Correct.
Right? It does explain it. But as Joaquin said, if this happened to you, right? And if this happened to you, and because the pastor is a man of God, you stopped serving and seeking it and being a child of God. Well, you'll never stop being a child of God, but you know what I mean, right? Then come back, right? Come back to the Lord, because the person, right, although he should be a reflection of God, God is God, right?
Correct.
God is God. And you don't go to the church anymore. You want to stay home. You don't do that. We can't survive alone. We are not meant to survive alone. There are many churches. I don't know where you're listening from, right?
Yeah, I mean, but if
we,
you're listening,
we have listeners in places that there are not any churches.
Yeah.
But if you're in the United States, there are many churches that you can go to and you can find and be a part of and plug into.
All denominations that you can find a spot that'll be, if it's Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, the non-denominational, denominational, church. There's a home for you, and sometimes it takes a minute or two to kind of find.
And sometimes you need to do like what I did. I stopped going to Spanish churches.
Somebody's like, well, I've never been to one.
Right.
Maybe you need to go.
Or maybe you need to go to one, right? Because I stopped going to Spanish churches.
Yeah.
And that's what I needed to do for me, right? But maybe you need to go to a Spanish church.
You're welcome.
Like Joaquin right now, who never went to a Spanish church, and now he's going to a Spanish church.
I'm going to Spanish church. Me and Jay have flip-flops. It's just kind of a scary thing.
You know what I mean? But, that's, the important thing is your relationship with God. Yes. Right, and not your relationship with the pastor.
Right.
A relationship with your pastor as your leader and is important.
Yeah,
it is important to have one,
but it's not the only.
But it's not the main thing. We have to make sure to keep the main thing.
Yeah,
the main thing.
The main thing. Relationship with Jesus. Good relationships with other believers. That's where it's at. And you might not always be able to have a great relationship with your pastor just because if it's a bigger church, right? He can't carve out that time with every single person. But guess what? You can join a group and be part of a group that'll nurture you and encourage you and pray for you, because that's what's important. That's how you resurrect. Don't let another man, just because he's in leadership, crush.
Determine your relationship with God.
Determine your relationship with Jesus. So, is that it? I think that's it.
No, there's one more thing.
Jay got one more thing. Good. Why you doing that?
There's one more thing. If you've been hurt, or part of you, or maybe you have been a victim to a killer pastor or a killer leader, right? I'm gonna tell you to do a couple things. Number one, reach out to other believers that you may still have friendships or relationships with, right? People that you can trust,
Yes.
right? And talk to them about it so that you can have a group or a body of believers around you to help you through this time, right? Pray with you through this time. Also, if you would like for one of us to reach out to you and pray with you or talk to you through this, leave us a comment on social media or Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I mean, whatever, wherever. Leave us a comment. DM us, like whatever it is, however it is that you want to reach out to us. And we, like either one of us or the both of us, will respond. And we'll reach out and we'll do as much as we can from wherever you are and wherever we are to pray for, pray with, and, stand alongside of you in solidarity and help you plug back in.
Connect with a body.
Right? And help you, reconnect with another body. Like we've done that a lot. Yeah. So, we're with you. We're all in this together.
So that's it. Hey guys,
I'm a killer pastor survivor.
Yeah. So hashtag killer pastor. Is it killer pastor? No, because then it sounds like kill a pastor. And then we'll be on the news. No, never mind. Hey, thanks for joining us as always. We're so glad you joined us. So glad you're here with us. Remember, theoverflowpodcast.com. That's in the ending, but we always got to say it. Instagram, everything's the Overflow Podcast. So hopefully we can see some of you on Monday.
Word.
Today, which is when you listen to it. And that's it. As always, I'm Joaquin.
And I'm still Jay.
Till next week. Peace.
Thanks for listening. Remember to go to theoverflowpodcast.com to subscribe to the podcast on all streaming platforms and catch up on all the links of the week. And don't forget to follow our playlist on Spotify.